Hello and welcome to the conversation. You're with India Post Live, India's first news conversation web TV. Before we get on to our conversation, we'd like to tell you that we have a very exciting game for you on our website. And if you're interested in Indian elections, this is the game that you should be playing. Uh, you can you can be a part of either the Congress, BJP, or the Aam Aadmi Party and secure as many votes as you can for them. Uh, just log on to our site and play this game. It's pretty infectious. So let's see how many votes you can get for your favorite politician or your party. The game is called the Vote Race, and you can choose your neta and drive him around to secure as many votes as you can for him. Moving on, the conversation today is about the Aam Aadmi Party and how the Aam Aadmi Party is handling its campaign in Varanasi. We've seen Arvind Kejriwal file his nomination from Varanasi today, but let's just take a look at what makes Aam Aadmi Party's campaign different from other political parties.
There's no high profile campaign. It's as common as it gets for AK in Varanasi. Almost 1,500 AAP supporters have divided themselves in various teams that walk on foot in a door to door campaign. It's the same strategy they had in New Delhi's seat, where Kejriwal defeated 3 times Delhi CM Sheila Dikshit by 26,000 votes last year. AAP strategists claim they have reached almost 170,000 of the 1.3 million plus households in the constituency. Their target is to reach all households before the campaign draws to a close. But the challenge is much tougher than Delhi. AAP is up against Hindutva poster boy Narendra Modi, and that too in UP where the state remains highly polarized. Their aim is to do as many street corner meetings and padyatras to connect to the man on the street. While Modi is busy campaigning for the BJP across the country, will AAP be able to catch with him in the run-up to the polling day on 12th May?
And joining us on this conversation, we have Raghav joining us from the Aam Aadmi Party. He's also a chartered accountant helping out Arvind Kejriwal. And we have Rakesh Mishra joining us, who's an entrepreneur and has spent his childhood in the holy city of Varanasi. We also have some people joining us on Skype. We've got Tarun joining us from the US, and we have Ashutosh from Delhi. I'd first like to go to Raghav. Raghav, door-to-door campaign in Varanasi. Uh, what is it that makes people fear the campaign strategy of the Aam Aadmi Party?
Well, the kind of strategy that we followed in Delhi was the political or the election fighting strategy that was used back in the day in the 60s, the 50s, where we didn't have access to that much amount of technology, that much amount of human resources, that much amount of financial resources. So we adopted a very simple, old strategy in which one would visit the household of every electorate. One would explain the kind of policies, the vision that we have for the city, and then seek votes. And this is precisely what we are following, and I think this is the distinguishing factor. Like all other political parties, the established traditional political parties have been using campaigns as a it's like a vehicle in which money is being pumped in, whether it's large scale advertisements, whether it's hoardings, first page ads of newspapers, but the connect is not there. One has to establish that connect with the electorate. You have to convince him that this is exactly what you will do, and the accessibility of the Aam Aadmi Party, the leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party, is the distinguishing factor, I think, one of the distinguishing factors in the holy city of Varanasi.
Well, today Arvind Kejriwal was saying that he only has 500 rupees in his pocket, and so he was just trying to make a point about the campaign that they face. I'd like to bring in Rakesh. Rakesh, the point that Raghav is making is that a connect is missing from the politicians. Earlier you had Murli Manohar Joshi, who's now shifted to Kanpur, and you have that connect seems to have gone. But do you think that the connect will be enough for the voters to support Aam Aadmi Party?
Sanjeev, first we have to decide the connect is between whom and for why. What is the reason of connect? Now, if you see Narendra Modi contesting from Varanasi, and you see Arvind Kejriwal contesting from Varanasi, and you see Ajay Rai contesting from Varanasi. Now, if you talk about connect, the only one person who has the connect with Varanasi is Ajay Rai, because he is a localite, he belongs to that. Now, if he is communicating something, people will definitely listen. Arvind Kejriwal, what happened in Delhi is a totally different phenomena. The demography of Delhi is totally different than the demography of Varanasi. Varanasi people will definitely, if you, they will go, they will meet Mr. Kejriwal, they will get the welcome, but he is not going to get vote. This is not going to
Why
turn
do you
into
say
votes.
that? Why do you say that?
This is primarily because they don't see him
Staying in Varanasi.
staying in Varanasi, number one. Number two, and he won't be able to contribute anything to Varanasi because he's not going to come to power. So Varanasi right now, as of now today, they want to support a candidate who can give a fight to the another candidate, but not to a person who himself has not proved himself quite well in Delhi.
Okay,
See, this is
this is
a
something.
clear case of drawing room politics. This is what we do in sitting in lush green gardens or in drawing rooms and we discuss politics. I'll explain you the ground reality what is happening.
Okay, let's just
The people know. Let me just complete. The people of Varanasi, the electorate, is still confused whether Ajay Rai is contesting from BJP, Congress, or the Samajwadi Party because he's shifted parties in the past 1.5 decades like anything. Number two, as far as Mr. Modi is concerned, it's, and rightly so, the question in the minds of the people is that if we cast our vote to Narendra Modi, it will be a waste. If he wins from that seat, he will shun away that parliamentary constituency and retain Vadodara. If he loses, as it is, their vote will get waste. So the people are actually debating that casting a vote to Mr. Modi is a waste. Ajay Rai, they don't know whether from which party is he contesting, what does he has to offer. The only selling point that he has is that he belongs to Varanasi. He has contested elections, not belongs. He has contested elections from Varanasi before. That is the only factor. But Arvind Kejriwal is selling. He is actually explaining them the vision, what we will do for Ganga, what we will do for the sewage, what we'll do for electricity, what we'll do for infrastructure, and on these grounds is what we are seeking the vote on.
Okay, so there I'd like to bring in Tarun on this. Tarun, how do you see the election in Varanasi happening?
AAP spokesperson is one key difference I see between AAP and BJP is Modi is asking for a stable government.
I think there seems to be some problem with the audio.
Okay,
Hello. Yeah, Tarun, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Sorry. Just go ahead. I mean, how do you see the election happening in Varanasi?
Yeah, so the way I see it is the point raised by AAP spokesperson is that Modi may shun the responsibility and leave the Varanasi seat. In the same token, it can be said that Kejriwal, like Delhi, will go to vote for assembly in next couple of months. Then Kejriwal may leave Varanasi for Delhi assembly too. So that fear may be unfounded. That is one. And the second point is Kejriwal is seen asking for a fractured Lok Sabha mandate so that there is instability and elections again. And Modi is seen asking for a stable government. So don't you see there is a contradiction in what Kejriwal is asking for?
Okay, so there, he has a point. The point I think that Tarun is trying to make is the fact that, if you say that Modi will go to Vadodara, then what is the guarantee that Kejriwal will not go back to Delhi?
See, Mr. Kejriwal has made this very clear that if he wins, he is going to retain this seat and represent Varanasi in the lower house of the parliament. But as far as Mr. Modi is concerned, as per the legislation, as per the laws of India, if he wins both the seats, he has to leave one seat, and in all likelihood he would shun away Varanasi. And coming to your question about his second question was about
fractured mandate.
The fractured mandate. See, you see, and for a stable government, we have seen UPA 1, UPA 2, one of the most stable governments in the history of independent India. But look at the outcome. Do you want that sort of stability, or you want a small period in which there is instability followed by a stable period in which there is real development, there is development of the common man and not just a few industrialists or industrial houses. So that is the mandate, and that is what we are looking at, and not just a short-term loss but at an extremely long-term benefit.
Tarun, do you agree with the fact that what Raghav is trying to say is that, if Arvind Kejriwal comes, he is definitely trying to push forward clean politics. Do you agree with that? So, I mean, can India deal with a fractured mandate for a couple of years and then go to better politics?
I think I don't agree with that thinking. Election is a costly and timely affair, and As he says, we are coming out of 10 years of misrule of UPA. The GDP is in shambles. All we need stability. That's my personal opinion for next 5 years. And to correct him, UPA too was not a stable government. It was a minority government supported from outside by SP and VSP. So there was political compulsion.
No,
There
but
was
it was
hidden
indeed a
policies
stable government.
paralysis.
Well,
It might
but
be
it
a
was.
bigger-
Stability is not guaranteed. You're
Okay.
also, nobody is able to guarantee the stability
Uh,
apart from.
Rakesh,
Yeah.
the point that I think even Tarun is trying to make is pretty simple. That he also says that what is the guarantee that Mr. Kejriwal will stay in
Exactly.
Varanasi? Raghav just clarified it. But for someone who's been there in Varanasi, do you see Narendra Modi staying back in Varanasi, or will he actually do something if NDA comes to power?
Yes, he will definitely do. There's no doubt about it, and he is the only person.
Why do you
whom
say
we-
that?
I say that because whenever, whatever the past in the Gujarat or wherever he was, today he is into Indian politics at national level. But he has done, whatever commitment has been made, those commitments have been met. So if you ask me that out of three, Ajay Rai, Arvind Kejriwal and Narendra Modi, forget about who's winning, who's voting, but as a resident of Varanasi, I'll go for Narendra Modi because I see the most potential in Mr. Narendra Modi than in Arvind Kejriwal or say Mr. Ajay Rai.
Even if he leaves Varanasi.
He will, that is a question different. First, Arvind Kejriwal has to win. First, he has to get votes from there. He is not closely there. He is
but
not
do you
closely.
concede
That
the
is
fact
not
that
even close to
but
that.
Rakesh, do you concede the
That
fact
is
that
your analysis.
Arvind
He is-
Kejriwal
yeah.
has actually made an impact in an election? I mean, he is giving
Definitely.
Narendra Modi a tough fight.
He is not in Varanasi. There is no tough fight. He is way behind. If I say today is Mr. Narendra Modi, the fight can be between Mr. Narendra Modi and Mr. Ajay Rai. Arvind Kejriwal is nowhere. He might
Okay,
get
okay.
30,
I
40,000,
think
Okay.
the
40,000 odd votes.
the right answer to all this analysis would be on
Yeah,
the
the
16th of
election.
May.
Of
but
course,
not
definitely.
just as a spokesperson, but as a person who has been in touch with the volunteers on the ground. The kind of response that we are getting is huge, and we have seen that the winds are changing, and people of Varanasi, certain section of people of Varanasi who were very much in favor of Mr. Narendra Modi, once they learnt about the policies of Gujarat, the kind of land allotment, the kind of development when the reality of that development was explained to them, now they are actually in favor of the kind of vision and the policy that the Aam Aadmi Party stands for. And all of us have been talking about the Gujarat model. Even Rakesh ji mentioned Gujarat model, that development in Gujarat. Let's talk about the development of Gujarat. What actually makes you say that there has been development in
Okay,
Gujarat?
okay.
Point
I'll
out
just
five
only-
facts.
I'll just say one.
No,
I'll just
Rakesh,
say
one
one.
second.
Yeah.
We're not getting into Gujarat. We're discussing the campaign strategy
Correct.
of the Aam Aadmi Party in Varanasi. I'd just like to bring in Ashutosh on this point. Ashutosh, what are your thoughts on the AAP's campaign in Varanasi?
You see, I think I agree with Raghav when he said that what we are discussing is drawing room politics, because if you go down onto the ground and see, I don't think Arvind Kejriwal stands a chance. His candidature has mainly been discussed in the drawing rooms as far as I am concerned. Secondly, if you look at it, Mukhtar Ansari recently withdrew from the contest. He's a known Don-turned politician. Can this so-called preacher of alternate politics categorically state on television today, Arvind Kejriwal, that I do not have any association whatsoever with Mukhtar Ansari? I will not take his support no matter what. Because today, with him withdrawing, it's clear that he's going to support Arvind Kejriwal. He's clearly not going to support Narendra Modi, against whom he sent letters to all political parties appealing for a joint candidate. He's not going to support Ajay Rai, he himself is an accused in the murder of Ajay Rai's brother. I don't think it's logical to assume that he's going to be supporting Ajay Rai. Can Arvind Kejriwal categorically state that he's not going to take the support of Mukhtar Ansari? Secondly,
He already
if
has.
you look at the, and he has nothing, will he go ahead to criticize Mukhtar Ansari?
Okay.
Or will he refrain from doing that with the fear
Okay,
of losing
okay.
the vote?
The Aam Aadmi Party has made its stand very clear. We have neither approached Mr. Ansari, neither Mr. Ansari has approached us. There hasn't been any dialogue. We've never met. I mean, whatever unilaterally is happening is happening. We've never said that we would seek support from any candidate. I mean, we are going in Varanasi with our own type of politics, the kind of politics that we stand for, the kind of visions and policies that we have, and we are not really bothered about what is the social demographic, what is the profile, who wants to support us, who doesn't want to support us. I mean, this is the kind of politics that we want to eradicate in the first place.
But Raghav, there is a perception that there has been some sort of an understanding between the Qawmi Ekta Dal and the Aam Aadmi Party. Would you like to clarify those dispel
As
these
I've
doubts?
said, we haven't really ever spoken to them, have never met them. There hasn't been any association, any dialogue. So there is no point of either seeking support or asking for support or taking support or rendering support.
Okay. Ashutosh, if you saw pictures today of Arvind Kejriwal's nomination, we saw huge crowds. So, I mean, don't you see
I
that,
think-
and there's still time, don't you see the campaign changing in Varanasi?
See, if you saw the nomination filing, I think there was one very interesting event that happened during the filing of the nominations. While I was watching TV, there was one reporter who repeatedly tried to get to Arvind Kejriwal to try to get some comments from him on the recent statement made by Shazia Ilmi.
Yeah.
And what we saw was that security personnel who he denies to have in his company pushed that reporter away continuously. So I think that is also something which happened today.
Yeah, but
And as far as the groundswell support of the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, I think it's also important to note that the majority of the grounds team of the Aam Aadmi Party is actually the same team that is working in Delhi. It's not the local residents of that area. This is the same team which
Absolutely,
is coming from Delhi and all across the country. There's nothing wrong in that. But what I'm saying is that these people don't necessarily translate into votes. The voters are the local residents, and how far they will be able to reach out to them, that is where the real test of the Aam Aadmi Party lies. And I think, as Raghav rightly said, that they are resorting to door-to-door campaign. I think that is the only way in which they can mobilize support, because they clearly don't have the resources unlike the other parties, and this is a necessity. There's no virtue in it. This is a basic necessity of the Aam Aadmi Party. I don't think it's fair to make a virtue out of this necessity.
okay, I'll bring in Rakesh here. Rakesh, Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party is talking about potholes on the roads, polluted Ganga, bad state of tourism. Are these going to be issues that a normal, citizen in Varanasi is going to react to, or are we going to see what the BJP normally does is to go about the Hindutva campaign and then make sure it's a polarized election?
See, Sanjeev, the question today, I've stayed there for 20 years. I still go there, and I'm seeing these potholes from last 25, 20 years. The question today is not the potholes. The question is not today the Ganga. The question today is that it is a fight which a polarization is happening in Varanasi seat, and people are going to vote. The Muslims, the 4-5 lakh Muslims are going to vote to a certain section. Hindus are going to vote at a certain section. The people are least bothered right now with the issues of Varanasi. The votes will not. These are not the issues.
But
today.
if you say that that's how it's going to happen, then where does Ajay Rai fit into the scheme of things? Because
he will be number 2. It will be a close contest between Mr. Narendra Modi and Mr. Ajay Rai. It might be very close.
Raghav, I'll bring you there, but we'll go back to Tarun. Tarun, how do you see? I mean, do you see local issues being the main election plank, or do you see, as Rakesh was saying, that Hindu versus the rest battle in Varanasi?
Looks like there has been some polarization in UP, and I blame all political parties for that, not necessarily one of them. Though I don't have any ground zero information from Varanasi, but when it comes to Modi and Kejriwal, I think the vote will be on national issues more than the local issues, because both, if you look logically, both are outsiders. But again, if I go back to first point, just thinking loud about it, Arvind Kejriwal was chosen over Sheila Dikshit in prestigious New Delhi Assembly seat, and now he's going to contest from Varanasi. So does that mean that he's going to shun the New Delhi people and he should not be elected again? So I don't think this is an important point. I mean, in politics, people move on. There are larger ambitions. So, but when it comes to Varanasi, I think the vote will be on national issues.
But-
I don't think from media reports, it seems there has been any much polarization, but I don't have any ground
But
reports.
Tarun, I'll tell you something. The Aam Aadmi Party campaign is pretty different. They go about it in a very scientific manner, and the reports that we are also getting is that the door-to-door campaign is actually helping them. So do you see? I mean, if that campaign works for the Aam Aadmi Party, don't you think that the local issues could actually come at par with the other issues like polarization in Hindutva?
That is yet to be seen. I hope that is the case. I hope the elections is fought on local issues and development and not on Hindu and Muslim. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, good. So, Raghav, coming back to the same point, I mean, this has been a strategy of the BJP and even some other parties in UP. They make these hate speeches and they get away with it. Of course, now we've seen something of Shazia Ilmi also coming there. How would you, as a party that believes in only common issues and issues of the people, how would you defend someone like a Shazia Ilmi on this?
First of all, I would not defend the kind of statements that were made by Shazia, but you can't compare the statement made by Shazia to the statement made by other leaders of the BJP recently, namely Giriraj Singh, Amit Shah, or the BHP leader. But what Shazia Ilmi has said, the party has very categorically said that we don't stand by such statements, and we believe in a kind of politics which is for prosperity, peace, and equality, and not in politics of polarization. But personally, if you ask me, in order to if I were to evaluate the statement in the right context, and if you look at the complete footage and not just 1 minute 30 seconds that is floating on the web, you would find Shazia is saying that until now all political parties are seeking, and particularly to few Muslims in a room, that people are seeking votes from Muslims saying that we are secular, we are secular, we are secular, and you vote against a particular political party and vote for a particular secular party. But no development is offered to you, no education, health facilities, education, nothing is offered to you. So what you guys should do is, you guys should become selfish. You should become selfish and vote, look at your own house and vote for a particular person who would offer all this. But mistakenly she used the word communal, wherein I personally think she wanted to use the word Indian and she used the word communal. I'm not defending her, I mean I'm outrightly saying that from a party like us which has such high moral standards, we don't stand by the kind of statements that she has made. But it's blown out of context, because what she's saying, if you look at the entire footage of 17-18 minutes, what she's exactly saying is become selfish and don't be befooled by these parties who come around the election time and say we are secular, vote for us. This is precisely what she's saying.
Okay. We'd just like to tell our viewers that you can also join in the conversation. Just log on to our site indiapostlive.com. You can also send us what you feel on our Twitter handle @IndiaPostLive. You can also hashtag our tweets at IndiaPostLive and come and join in the conversation. So going back to it, Rakesh, the point that we say that vote banks, if Shazia was talking about the Muslim vote banks, what is the guarantee that Narendra Modi is not treating you guys like a Hindu vote bank?
See, it is Narendra Modi is what he is talking right now, and what we are perceiving is that this is the person who is going to give us stability. So that is what is the most important thing which India needs today. Irrespective of anybody, nobody is guaranteeing stability.
But there are party leaders like Giriraj Singh and Amit Shah making those hate speeches. Right. So how would you justify, that you are not being treated as a vote bank?
See, there are statements made by everybody. There is nobody. Everybody is making some or the other statements, whether it is BJP, whether it is AAP, whether in some manner or the other. What right now my friend Gaurav is saying, everybody is making a statement. So the question is that when everybody is making the same kind of comments, then who is making the worst comment or the bad? The choice is between bad and worst. So we would like to go with the bad. So I feel today.
At least he's acknowledging that BJP is bad.
Because I'm not a BJP spokesperson, my friend. So I'm not a BJP spokesperson.
Anyways, okay. So
I'm from Varanasi.
Okay, back to us. Yeah. I'd like to bring in Ashutosh on this. Ashutosh, is there any good party in Varanasi this time, or is it just bad and worse?
No, I think when you analyze Varanasi, it's about candidates, and I would say there is definitely a good candidate in Varanasi, a candidate who promises growth, stability, and development. But moving on, I would just like to say one thing. If you notice the statements coming from all political parties, you had Azam Khan from the Samajwadi Party. Have you had any statement from Mulayam Singh condemning it? No. You had Shazia Ilmi. Have you had any statement from Arvind Kejriwal condemning it? No.
Yeah, there was from Manish Sisodia.
No. Manish
Sisodia outrightly condemned.
Arvind Kejriwal is the face of your party today. Before filing the nomination, he refused to speak.
The official statement of the party is given by any of the leaders, and Manish Sisodia, as soon as Shazia's video got viral, he came out in the public and he gave an official statement.
Ashutosh, personally, I think you're being very unfair on Raghav. I think there has been some sort of official.
I don't have my sympathies with the Aam Aadmi Party.
Clearly.
No, I don't have my sympathies. It's Raghav who's there from the Aam Aadmi Party. I've got nothing against him as an individual or against anybody, but it's about the Aam Aadmi Party which I don't agree with. But
Why? Why?
moving on,
Tell us.
I think with the BJP particularly, you've had statements from Giriraj Singh, Praveen Togadia, which were immediately condemned by the prime ministerial candidate of the party, who categorically said that those are not his views. And
He condemned it after 7 days. We condemned it after 7 minutes.
No,
There
I
is a
don't.
difference. There is a difference.
I think the BJP spokespersons were immediately there to condemn it. Arvind Kejriwal hasn't spoken a word. Led
He
Narendra
doesn't have
Modi
a
as
time.
the
He's a single man
candidate
army, so he
also.
doesn't have time.
And I think that's not the point. The point is very simple, that when you talk about such kind of comments, you have to look at the main leader who's at the top. You'll have such fringe elements there in all parties at the grassroots level, but the leader at the top matters and the language he speaks. I don't think Narendra Modi spoken that kind of a language when he says "Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas." I think he means that it's implicit that
Let me
he's
just
saying
answer this.
to take everybody along with him and promising development and growth for everybody. When there is development, I don't think development discriminates. If roads are made, or if there's irrigation, if there's power, I don't think that discriminates between people or various communities. And I think it's high time we put an end to such kind of discriminative dialogue and rather talk about development and rather talk about growth
No,
and such
absolutely.
kind of things.
Just to add
and also
one.
just one thing, and also with regard to Arvind Kejriwal contesting from Varanasi, if you look at it, I don't think there's something new in it, because if you look at 2004, you had Ram Jethmalani contesting against Atal Bihari Vajpayee. If you look last year, you had Meera Sanyal previously contest against Lal Krishna Advani from Gandhinagar. So you already had such kind of.
No.
No, no, the party was formed. Party was formed
You
in
don't have the right
2000.
facts
Go
with
back.
you. Anyway,
Go back.
coming to
Okay.
your
Yeah.
two major points that you have raised about development and stability,
Uh-huh.
because you're a young chap, you should either visit Gujarat or visit the
No,
internet
I
and
have
see the
visited Gujarat.
reality.
In fact,
See the reality that what Mr. Modi has done. Gujarat has been a developed state since the 60s. The GDP was in double figure in the
Is it?
80s, and it was completely electrified in the 90s. So Mr. Modi has nothing to do with the development of Gujarat or the
You
Gujarat
can't
model.
just take
Okay.
him out
No,
from
no,
that.
Number
that is
two, and number two,
extremely
you talk
unfair.
about
I think it's
stability
extremely
and
unfair
cost
when
of.
you say Modi's got nothing to do with the development model of
I'm
Gujarat
saying
and the development in
the
Gujarat, but it's got
Gujarat.
everything to do
Yes,
with
Okay,
because,
okay, okay,
because
okay.
we have been
One
packaging
indicator.
Gujarat. I mean, I give the guy all the credit for packaging it. He's a good marketing guy. He's been packaging it well. But all I'm saying is that the model of Gujarat or the development of Gujarat goes back to the 60s. It's not happened in 2002 to 2013.
Okay,
And
okay.
secondly, you talk
No, no,
about
one sec.
One second, Ashutosh, one second. We'll bring in some of the tweets. Snow Leopard has tweeted that, that's a question for you, Raghav, that what action will, the Aam Aadmi Party take against Shazia Ilmi? We're getting some tweets in.
I think the matter will be discussed in the Political Affairs Committee of the party. But as Manish Sisodia rightly, after a few minutes of the video being broadcasted on all media, came out and gave the statement that we don't stand by such statements. And I think even Arvind Kejriwal today made a statement that the choice of words was absolutely wrong. So, and I have also given a clarification. I have explained it. That the party doesn't stand by such statements, but I've also explained at the same time what exactly she meant. And if you look at the complete video, I think in a few hours the Aam Aadmi Party or somebody from the Aam Aadmi Party should issue the complete footage of 19-20 minutes in which it would be extremely clear what she exactly meant. But I'm still not defending her. All I'm saying is the party doesn't stand by this. The Aam Aadmi Party stands for equality, politics of progress, peace and prosperity, and not politics of polarization.
Okay, Rakesh, what Shazia has said, do you think it's going to affect the election in Varanasi in any event? There's still time. Polling is on 12th May. If the door-to-door campaign of the Aam Aadmi picks up, do you see some sort of change happening, at least your point of view changing?
As a citizen of Varanasi, I don't think so. They have started very late in Varanasi. There might have been an impact if they were there in much ahead of the schedule. But as of now, I don't see anywhere AAP making any impact in Varanasi. It is outrightly going to be between Mr. Narendra Modi and Mr. Ajay Rai. The Muslims, I don't know where they are going to vote, but they are wherever they vote, that will be the number 2. And as of now, as of today, with the ground reality and with the friends who are there, what I have spoken to them, it is purely and purely Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is number 3.
Okay. I'll bring in Tarun. Tarun, your last comments. We don't have much time.
Yeah, I just wanted to correct the AAP spokesperson. Not correct, just inform that I heard the development is not inclusive and land was given to certain industrialists. Just, I will request him to read the Supreme Court judgment on land allotment policy of Gujarat, which was endorsed by the Supreme Court. So, as a citizen of India, what would you like us to believe in, Supreme Court judgment or political propaganda by Rahul Gandhi and other opposers? That is one. And second, on a funny note, they need to make up their mind whether Gujarat is developed or not. When on one hand they say it's already developed, Modi has nothing to do with it, and when you say it's already developed or not developed, they should make up their mind over there. So only 2 points to end the conversation.
See, the development is, as I've said, that the entire Gujarat model or Gujarat as a state has been developed, or one of the most developed states of India since the 60s. Whether you look at the GDP, whether you look at the infrastructure, the roads, the electrification, all this. And when Mr. Narendra Modi came to Gujarat or was elected as the chief minister, a lot of development had already happened. So you can't just attribute the entire Gujarat model or the development of Gujarat to Mr. Modi, number one. Number two, I can quote you chapter by verse, so many things, whether it's land allotment, whether it's healthcare, whether it's infrastructure, it would clearly show, it would clearly come to your notice that Gujarat is just like any other state. I mean, the entire police of Gujarat or the teachers in Gujarat are on contractual labor. Nobody has a permanent job. Healthcare system, it's almost collapsing. The roads of Gujarat were made in the 60s and the 70s.
Okay, Raghav, I'd like to cut you here because you know,
you look at the economics. You look at the economics.
Raghav,
Gujarat is the only state. No, because he's talking.
Winning from
Okay,
last
okay.
He's
One
asking.
second.
I'll explain you that
Raghav,
also.
Raghav. We don't have much time.
Congress, the people of Gujarat.
No,
are
I'll explain you. There is a clear match fixing. There is a clear match fixing between the
sessions, Raghav.
Yes, sir. Yes.
3 sessions.
There is a clear match
Excuse
fixing
me.
between
Hello.
the Congress. People are not fooled, but there is no opposition. There is no opposition in Gujarat. That is the reality.
We don't have much time. Just last comments. Quickly in 2 words, I mean in 2 lines. Rakesh, your take on the whole campaign right now in Varanasi.
He won't get more than 30,000 votes. Arvind Kejriwal won't get more than 30,000. There's no people will come. People are going to see him. There's
You and I
somebody,
are here.
Arvind Kejriwal has come there. People are going to see kaun hai bhai Arvind
If he
Kejriwal.
gets more votes, then you and I are here.
Absolutely. No, not more than 40,000. Okay, 10,000 I give you.
What will you do if he
Etc.
gets
40,000.
Okay, then
votes.
yeah.
Not more than
What do
that.
you promise you will do for Raghav if he gets more votes?
I'll take him for a drink.
Raghav, your last words.
See, you know, the Aam Aadmi Party has gone there for a purpose. I mean, we don't believe in this petty politics. I mean, if he's quoting numbers 40,000, 50,000, I don't believe in that. What I'm saying is that it is our responsibility to fight for a person, to fight against a person who stands for crony capitalism, who's become a symbol of communal politics in this country, and we would, with all our energies, we'll try and stop him. And if we are successful, by the grace of God, so be it.
Okay, thanks so much and all the best. Thank you,
Thank you.
Rakesh
Thanks.
and Raghav joining us. Also, Tarun and Ashutosh, thank you so much for joining in the conversation. I'm sorry we've run short of time, but we hope to see you again on one of our conversations. So there you have it. It seems to be a pretty even contest, although Rakesh still maintains that Narendra Modi is way ahead, but we'll wait and see. And if Aam Aadmi Party gets more than 50,000 votes, we can definitely tell you that we'll see these two of them together, not on camera, but at least out somewhere, out for a drink somewhere. Thanks so much for joining in the conversation. Thank you.